Hey, it's Evan. Welcome back to another episode of the Mindful 8 podcast. In today's episode, we're talking about the way of the non-drifter. This is originated from Napoleon Hill and Outwitting the Devil. I got the book with me right here and now, and I'm going to read you the definition of a non-drifter. The first sign of a non-drifter is he is always engaged in doing something definite through some well-organized plan which is definite. He has a major goal in life toward which he is always working, and many minor goals, all of which lead toward his central scheme. The tone of his voice, the quickness of his step, the sparkle in his eyes, the quickness of his decisions clearly mark him as a person who knows exactly what he wants and is determined to get it, no matter how long it may take or what price he may pay. If you ask him questions, he gives you direct answers and never falls back on evasions or resorts to subterfuge. He extends many favors to others, but accepts favors sparingly or not at all. He will be found up front whether he is playing a game or fighting a war. If he does not know the answers, he will say so frankly. He has a good memory, never offers an alibi for his shortcomings. He never blames others for his mistakes, no matter if they deserve the blame. He used to be known as a go-getter, but in modern times he is called a go-giver. You will find him running the biggest business in town, living on the best street, driving the best automobile, and making his presence felt wherever he happens to be. He is an inspiration to all who come in contact with his mind. The major distinguishing feature of the non-drifter is this: he has a mind of his own and uses it for all purposes. He has a mind of his own and uses it for all purposes. The non-drifter, in one line, has a mind of his own and uses it for all purposes. Look, this book I can't highly recommend enough. Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill is by far one of my favorite books. And it's because of the concept of the non-drifter versus drifter. And also, like a previous episode, understanding that every man has the right to know that his actions are led by faith or fear. But this concept of the non-drifter, it really resonated with me because think about how many people are just drifting through life. The devil in this book says that it's 98 out of 100 people are drifting, and there's only 2 out of 100 who are truly definite with what they do on a day-to-day basis. This is why I always say, definite purpose, definite action, because you really have to know what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. Every action you take, every, thoughts come and go, but the action, you definitely take that, right? So as my battery gets low, I really wanted to, I was called to talk about the way of the non-drifter, and this is a topic that I always talk about at large, but I wanted to get it in this Mindful 8 podcast. Look, every single time you take an action and every single day that you go about, right, understand that you're either drifting through life or you're taking definite action towards a definite purpose. And that just comes from, knowing what that definite purpose is, right? Yes, there are days when you can rest and there are days when you can relax and reflect, but you're doing that consciously and definitely. So the way of the non-drifter is having a mind of your own and using it for all purposes. That's really what it comes down to. So this is going to be a very short episode, but I wanted to get it out because I was really, really called to it. Remember that the way of the non-drifter is using your mind for all its purposes. Your mind is very powerful. It's one of the most powerful things in the universe, right? It is the most powerful thing in the universe. So use it for good and use it definitely. Thank you for listening. I love you dearly.